Most countries, especially in the developing world, have struggled to access COVID-19 vaccine. This limits the speed at which they can protect their populations from the deadly virus. At the same time, it increases the chance for more variants to develop. Despite the promises of global solidarity and proclamation of no one is safe until everyone is safe, the data shows that we are failing as a global community. The world needs to work together to ensure more equitable access to vaccines. The delays in achieving global vaccine coverage are partly a question of production capacity and partly of funding. The world urgently needs to build capacity in the poorest nations to deliver and administer vaccines safely and securely. The poorest countries may not be able to roll out vaccine to their citizens until the end of 2022 or even 2023. The World Health Organization's call for vaccine equity is not new. The WHO chief stressed that the priority must be on supporting countries to vaccinate 40% of their populations as quickly as possible and 70% by the middle of 2022. In his first briefing of 2022, the WHO chief repeated his long-standing call for vaccine equity and solidarity to defeat the crisis now reaching into its third year. He described vaccine inequity as a failure of people and jobs, which is also undermining global economic recovery. Low vaccination rates have also created the perfect conditions for virus variants to emerge. The inequity in vaccine availability is a call to confront injustice. Fortunately, there are several opportunities for action. The lack of access to COVID-19 vaccines in poorer countries is not only a humanitarian failure, but deeply unjust. A reference to the equity of God shows up in Psalms of Praise. We read in Psalm 99, "The King is mighty, he loves justice. You have established equity. In Jacob you have done what is just and right." Micah chapter 6 verse 8 reveals God's desire for us. This verse describes what God wants from us in return is to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. We need an approach that sees beyond borders and shows that we truly love our neighbors. The estimate suggests that 85 countries won't have wide vaccination availability until 2023. We read powerful words in Matthew chapter 25 verse 40. Jesus invites us to act in solidarity with those in need. For us, it is an expression of Christian solidarity and justice if all people can be guaranteed equitable access to vaccination. Jesus' ministry is lived out when we advocate and strive for meaningful change in the world that reflects the justice revealed in the Bible. The distribution of vaccines and supplies to some of the poorest countries has been badly delayed. Our Christian identity compels us to call for a more equitable distribution of the global vaccine resource. So what do we do now? Support vital work to address ongoing healthcare challenges in source-poor countries. Pray for those responding to the pandemic around the world, from frontline healthcare workers to political decision makers. And by mobilizing funds so that vaccines can be turned into vaccinations.